Bemusement of the Vague Year. Completed 31 December 2020. February 28. The first case of COVID-19 is reported in New Zealand. March 21. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern announces that New Zealand is at level 2 restrictions. It is highly recommended that all over 70 stay at home and that people maintain social distance. March 25. New Zealand introduces a level 4 lockdown. I'm visiting the country with my partner and son. We're scheduled to fly out April 12. By law, we must stay within our social bubble, which is made up of my mother, father, partner, son, and myself. March 28. I take Alexandra to Avondale to get a new screen for her phone. The line outside the West Liquor bottle shop is made up of about 100 people. On the way home, I see a minor accident where the Curran Street on-ramp meets the Auckland Harbour Bridge. I cannot ascertain how it could have happened, as there are no other cars in sight on the entire bridge. I'm tempted to pull over and help, but think better of it. March 29. Safe recreational activity is allowed in one's local area. I go swimming with my father at a swimming cove about 500 metres from the house. Where are you from? A man in his late 40s asks us, his brow raised. Up the road, my father says. How are you finding lockdown? My 70-year-old father grins. We're all going to get it. The first death due to COVID-19 is recorded in New Zealand. March 30. While the suburban neighbourhood streets are void of cars, multiple housebound children and parents on their bicycles zigzag joggers and pedestrians. Windows are displayed with teddy bears. I run laps around Stafford Park to avoid having to sidestep people. Countless buses drive past on the motorway. Most are empty of passengers. April 3rd. In the supermarket line, I overhear a maskless security guard talking about his exposure to hundreds of people doing their grocery shopping. Supermarkets, pharmacies, health clinics, petrol stations, and lifeline utilities are the only businesses considered essential and open for trade. The local fruiterer lives across the road. He is gloved and masked and burning all his cardboard boxes. The street is filled with black smoke. April 4th. The New Zealand government allows exercising within one's local area, but announces that recreation and exercise does not involve swimming, water-based activities, for example surfing or boating, hunting, tramping, or other kinds of activities that expose participants to danger or may require search and rescue services. The weather is surprisingly warm, and I go for a dip in the sea. April 9th. 2 meters, 2 meters, a pedagogue screams at my neighbour's dog when it approaches his dog for a sniff. April 10th. Post offices are shut. Post boxes are in operation for essential items, which include food, beverages, health, and sanitary products and toiletries. Libraries are closed and book deliveries are banned. A fellow in the Wairapa has ordered Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged from my online bookstore, but it won't fit in the post box. The delivery van pulls up and I ask the postie, with long curly black hair and a pink say pinned behind her ear, if she can accept my item. She gives me a colossal smile and says, "No problem." April 25th. I read an online article at Mindfood about Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern's top 5 must-read books. They are Endurance by Alfred Lansing, Mortal Fire by Elizabeth Knox, The Invisible Crowd by Alan Wiles, The Bone People by Kerry Holm, and Harry McCleary from Donaldson's Dairy by Linley Dodd. April 27th. The New Zealand lockdown has been downgraded to level 3. This allows cafes to serve takeaway coffee and restaurants food, provided that customers strictly maintain a social distance of 2 meters. Citizens must work from home when possible and keep regional. April 28th. The amount of traffic has risen from 10 to 20%. I finished a job replacing damaged guttering, which I worked on for a full week. My boss and I never applied for an essential workers permit. The KFC drive-through queue in Mairangi Bay comprises 20 cars. May 1st. With my partner Alexandra and son Teo, we prepare for our departure to Norway the following day. I rarely see my parents. We've managed our lock-in well and have grown closer as a unit. While I'll be forever thankful to my mother and father, much credit for the family peace is to be given to my young son, who will never remember this strange time, though it's far from over. May 2nd. I take an iPad and wide-brimmed hat from the wrong tray as it leaves the baggage X-ray. "That's not ours," Alexandra says. The older gentleman grins at me. I'm not so worried about the iPad, but the hat. "Thanks for keeping a sense of humour, mate." He looks like and may very well be Kerry O'Keefe. My face remains uncovered. Air New Zealand staff are masked and pleasant. A young man with square facial features across the aisle moves to a seat further in front. In excessive air conditioning at Melbourne Airport, aside from my family, I see only 2 other passengers, girls with straight black hair and prescription glasses, speaking to each other in Mandarin. One proceeds to play an emotionally moving song on the airport's George Steck baby grand piano, while the other sits with a ukulele. The pianist blushes as my young son and I clap when she finishes. "What composition was that?" I ask Alexandra. "The Game of Thrones theme." At Hamad International Airport, Doha, Qatar, I take my son to see the 15,875-kilogram, 7-meter tall yellow bear in the grand foyer. The majority of people in the duty-free hall wear masks. Like the Air New Zealand staff, the Qatar Airlines staff are masked and jovial. May 3rd. The taxi taking us from Gardermoen Airport in Oslo to our house circles a roundabout where Norwegian Rus students sit with beers and a placard. En tut equals en skal, which translates to honk for a drink. The driver pops his horn. I get in, bathe my son, and pass out. June 5th. An estimated 15,000 people gather outside the American embassy in Oslo to protest the murder of Black American George Floyd by police in Minnesota, United States of America, and support the Black Lives Matter movement. All signs are in English. August 29th. I break 3 ribs upon falling from a ladder. After getting x-rayed at Grønland Hospital, I take a walk around Grønalokka. It's music fest and there are people everywhere. Inebriated women sing ABBA's Dancing Queen off-key. Across town, 25 youths are hospitalized with carbon monoxide poisoning from portable diesel generators, having attended an unauthorized rave in a retired bunker. September 20th. I come back from a 2-week trip to Poland, a country with a high infection rate. Upon landing at Oslo Airport, I take a COVID-19 swab test. 2 days later, I receive negative results. September 29th. I begin to remove the wallpaper in my apartment with a steam machine. October 20th. Aside from missing a few weeks due to my rib injury and Poland trip, every Tuesday for the past 3 months, I've been training with the Oslo Rugby League team. We seldom get more than 6 players in attendance. Tonight, the light is dim and the pitch a mud bog. The temperature is 1 degree Celsius. October 27th. Over 60 years, the walls have been layered with wallpaper 6 times. I finish steaming the final layer. I feel dull pain in my back and right shoulder. November 11th. I read an official statement from the Oslo Commune. On November 10th, the city government approved a social lockdown in Oslo as part of its third package of measures during the autumn to fight the coronavirus. Today, the city government has decided to continue the package of measures until 7th of January 2021. The city government will permit youth clubs to have activities for up to 20 young people at a time, aged 13 to 19. The governing mayor emphasises that the infection prevention measures will be kept better at youth clubs than when young people gather elsewhere, such as at metro stations and shopping centres. The youth clubs will be open to more people than at present and will keep in contact with groups of young people who may have a particular need to be followed up. The city government will allow events for disadvantaged groups organised by charities and the City of Oslo. This applies to events that are open to people with drug addictions or psychiatric problems, for example, and the homeless. The city government will also allow different faiths to hold religious services and other similar gatherings, with an upper limit of 20 participants. Face masks are compulsory if people from differing households cannot keep a meter's distance. November 12th. Following the announcement, I send text messages to the players in my rugby league team. I feel we've grown close to each other over the last 2 months of training. Do you want to continue training while maintaining social distance? Got work in a PlayStation, I'm fine. Got kids. It's too dangerous considering the pandemic. I will train on my own. November 13th. I visit the library. An acquaintance rides past on his bicycle and sees me writing through the window. He comes and takes a seat opposite me. 2 meter, says the security guard. November 14th. There is a queue to enter the library, so I don't bother. November 15th. Alexandra's mother is infected with COVID-19. She works in a retirement home. November 24th. After the closure of many small and independent businesses, activists in Grünerløkka plaster posters over shop fronts in the area. Buy Christmas presents locally, buy at small shops. If not, this is what will be here. Egon's, McDonald's, Starbucks, and KFC. There is no KFC in Norway. November 25th. I contemplate going to New Zealand. In Auckland, where my parents live, it is a legal requirement to wear a mask on public transport. Clubs and pubs are open with bar service available. There are no restrictions on occupancy numbers unless fire safety conditions are breached. November 28th. My mother-in-law has recovered from COVID-19, although no one knows what after effects may occur. Most of her fellow workers have been diagnosed with the virus. Her symptoms included joint and muscle pain as well as fatigue. She suffered neither fever nor cough. November 30th. My shoulder and back pain from wallpaper removal persist despite plenty of stretching. I take on a 3-day job painting the interior of an event centre. My muscles are stiff from the cold. I paint alone and with purpose. I build up a sweat and take few breaks. December 3rd. I have excruciating back and neck pain which causes severe headaches. December 4th. I visit a chiropractor who inserts 5 acupuncture needles in my scapular area and clicks my back 4 times. I pay him 420 krona, €40. The procedure lasts 15 minutes. December 5th. I have no back pain. December 6th. I have extreme back pain. December 7th. I've been recommended an Oslo-based sports physiotherapist from Ireland with good credentials. I apply for an appointment, taking the time to note down all past injuries and current symptoms. December 9th. I am still in pain and have heard nothing from the sports physio. December 10th. I find a massage therapist who is a solid conversationalist but can't access my area of pain with her hands. I ask her if it's possible for a harder treatment. which makes her nervous. I am sore in my gluteus maximus. However, I refrain from asking the young healer to put her hands on my ass, something that would not have been an issue for me pre-2017. I fear potential consequences of such a request. December 12th. I get little pain relief. I see a different therapist at the same clinic, who gives me a decent massage for 30 minutes and provides me with exercise suggestions in the rehabilitation room. As she's older, I find no issue in hinting that my glutes are very sore. She refrains from massaging me there and asks me if I'm interested in needling. I say that I am and book an appointment for the 17th. December 16th. From the library window, I count the people walking past. 4 out of every 5 people wear facial protection. Aside from couples, all are keeping distance. A mask flies by in the wind. December 17th. I wait inside the massage clinic for 15 minutes. The receptionist approaches me. Amy isn't here. She's not answering her phone. Can you get a massage from our other therapist? Okay. I'm massaged by the same woman from 1 week earlier. I savor our conversation, but once again, the back rub doesn't help. December 21st. I travel to Oslo Centre to get a coffee in a cozy independent cafe called Café Sur. It's closed. It has been since November 7th. They plan to reopen at a later date. I make my way to Barayaz. This cafe, an Oslo institution, closed permanently on December the 3rd. Franchises Café Berneria and Espresso House are doing a roaring trade. December 24th. I'm getting Christmas texts from people with whom I have irregular contact. I return my well wishes. I receive no responses. December 27th. The pain in my back lingers. The postman is in the foyer of our apartment building. When he sees me coming down the stairs, he backs up to the wall and covers his mouth and nose with his hands. Unnskyld, excuse me, I say in Norwegian.